Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first module. This is the First Energy Center, and I'm so grateful to have Richard Lewald with us. And I met Richard, just a few months ago, I think,
Probably
right?
about three months ago.
And it just feels like a whirlwind in that he has these tools and this knowledge that I immediately connected with and wanted to learn more. And so started seeing him for personal sessions and then referring all my clients to him. And I'm just so grateful that we can get an overview of, what is energy and how are we relating to it, and then tap into some of the basics of food and water, these elements that nourish us and are actually the foundation that we build the rest of our life on. So welcome, Richard.
Thank you very much. It's
a
privilege to be here and introduce myself and share some of these things that I've got to know. And I consider myself always a student, a researcher, and then an educator. But first thing first, you're always a student. You always want to learn. And it's always been a fascinating journey for me in the last 40-somewhat years, 44 years. Where I began to be very much interested in health and wellness, and so got into the whole cycle of foods and supplements and the works, and it's kind of where that is all very important and very foundational. But in the last number of years, last 6-7 years, it's become more towards we're really identifying that everything is energy, and working with energy is really then therefore the root. And so when you get that concept that you are energy and that your energy needs to flow, and then we go into the knowledge that has actually been in existence for thousands of years, like in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda and so on. And wow, it's so amazing that we have very strong roots that's actually been in existence for an awful lot longer than say modern medicine and so on. So the way to health and wellness and, whether it's at every level, always has to do with energy. So the best way to identify or define wellness is the energy within you and the energy around you. Okay, we get continuously impacted. And so it's always, identifying your own energy levels. And, you go up and down and you feel low. But the key is with energy, it needs to flow. And when energy becomes stagnant, for example, stagnant water, it goes bad. Anything that becomes stagnant creates problems. So energy's got to flow. And so there are many sources of energy and many new sources of energy, particularly these days where all the modern gadgets and toys that we are associated with, and technology is creeping in everywhere, so we can't avoid that. And now we're having to kind of look at it from a different angle. How do we help to protect ourselves with these invasive type of energies, okay, to keep our energy up? And it's like you're being assaulted and ambushed on a continuous basis, not knowing that this is happening. But, we just simply need to be aware of that it's so, you live in a home, you might choose to perhaps try to avoid some of these things, technology, computers and Wi-Fi and cell phones perhaps, and you might turn them off and all that. But the problem being that we all live closer with other people, and then we're being infiltrated by their signals from their Wi-Fis and so on. So it's pretty hard to escape that. So depending on our own level overall of, health and all that, and what's happening within our bodies, then some people are overcome a lot quicker. And then our energy centers start to shut down. And when this happens, then of course, it can manifest itself at the physical state, but also the emotional, also the mental state. And depending on where each one of us, our weaknesses are, we're all a little bit different, and we can withstand in different areas. So we're all unique. And as unique beings, we carry, based on our DNA, our own frequency signature, like everything in nature has. Every snowflake, every drop really of water has its own signature. So each one of us is very unique. And so take the whole body, but it's made out of all these trillions of cells. We're looking 70 to 100 trillion cells. And so there's an awful lot going on, and they've quantified basically to the actions within the cell as to be about 100,000 actions in a cell per second. So the amount of activity within our bodies is just like, multiply 100 trillion times 100,000. I don't even know how to pronounce that number, but I don't get too concerned with it. And so I know it's big, and you got to always look at the foundations. Everything has its foundation, and the stronger the foundation we base ourselves on, the better we can withstand everything else. And so typically the approach to many things has been, okay, let's find the problem, but very often then it's approached by, it's like the crack in the wall. Instead of going to the foundation, if there's an issue with the foundation, is fix the crack. But if it keeps on cracking up, you better fix the foundation and find out which foundation it is, or where the foundation is that needs to be repaired and supported, right? So always support all your foundations. So again, you take this massive body, or 100 trillion cells or so, made up of all of these cells, making up tissues, making up organs and systems, but they're all linked. And we're only as strong as the weakest link. And so sometimes this gets to be a bit of a problem to find out. And so we can be trying, even good things, right? Good foods and good supplements, the things that could help us very well. But if our energy centers are very low, then we got to find out. Now, I use a very unique way of determining. I have some technologies, and one is based on, you can find its foundations really in dowsing, okay? And when that technology was handed to me, it was really gifted to me because my body was tuned to be able to do it. And many asked if I'd previously done any dowsing, but it just fitted me in a very unique way, and it's been a big teacher. And what I've even found as of late is that how everything is linked to the feet. Every point in your body is linked to the feet. And so I've been concentrating a lot of the therapy side of things back into the feet. If we establish or reestablish good energy in the feet, then it opens up all the meridians from the feet up. And the two main meridians, like the yin yang basically side, is on if you went to scan your spine from the top of the head all the way down the spine to your tailbone. Many people have blockages, or they're totally blocked on that. Or you run it along the front here. You check this front meridian, okay? They're totally blocked. Well, as soon as you find blockages there, all that is linked all to the rest of your body, so it throws all these areas out of sync. So we can be working locally, let's say at the shoulder or at the finger, and we perhaps can build these things back up and get them up to working and feeling good. But after a while, it comes back because we didn't fix the main thing. So I've seen some very amazing things. So get the energy flowing. The spine is like the high voltage wires that run up and down in the power lines, your 100,000 volts, whatever they are. That's what your spine is doing. So between the two meridians, the front and the back, your main ones, they're kind of like governing an awful lot of the other actions going on in your body. But yeah, it's unique. The feet tells the story. The feet is being defined as your second heart as well. So when I share this with people that are practicing traditional Chinese medicine, they said, yes, feet first.
I love it. Yeah.
It's so cool. And I've now find a very unique way to very quickly help people at the foot level to get the action happening. And I've seen people with Parkinson's within minutes stop their shaking. Okay, it doesn't necessarily happen every time, but so when you see something like that, oh my goodness, this is really so true, right? And So very unique experiences with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me even stronger in what I'm doing and more committed of, just showing people. And, so we're really unlimited when it comes to getting back into wellness again.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what is it? It's the energy within you and the energy around you. So first of all, reestablish your energy. The further your energy field can flow out there, it's kind of like building up an energetic immune system. We're often talking about the immune system in the gut that governs about 90% of your overall physical. But it begins really with the energetic immune system.
Mm-hmm.
When we're assaulted and it just begins to shrink, you see that 90% or more of the people have digestive issues,
mm-hmm.
and you'd be taking digestive enzymes and many other things. They're going to be helpful. But if the energy is not there, then it can, not necessarily help you to overcome. So anyways, so the unique thing is then the energy to establish that is also what we're incorporating, what we're putting on our bodies, into our bodies, or near our bodies. Like, for example, cell phones can really deplete Wi-Fi. And now they're talking about the, 5G series of cell phones. They're talking about new, I think it's 7G coming out, and that technology is even worse than 5G.
Is that right?
And they're talking about it. It's definite, cancer causing stuff. So all these frequencies, again, because energy has its vibration and frequencies, they're up in, I think it's something like 25 gigahertz up to 100 gigahertz frequencies, and that's right in the microwave level of stuff. And so it's very, very harmful. And
and the people that enjoy science, really quantum physics, and I know there's some of you that will be listening to this that are, and I am interested in it, but I think you'd be great at explaining more of that, like, astral level, like how is it that we're so impacted, but yet we are also so numb to it now? We're oblivious. What's that relationship like?
Well, for example, what you so often find, and anyone that's familiar with chakras in the body, okay, these are your energy centers. So you get your crown, you get your third eye, you get your throat, your heart, solar plexus, sacrum, and root chakra. And many people, like, for example, their crown, their third eye, throat chakras often are shut down a lot. And so when we become desensitized, our intuitive level goes down, we become disconnected. Okay, and that's why I feel that there's so many people that are basically like zombies today. We're good consumers, right? But again, I take that, the definition of the word. They want us to be good consumers because it's good for the business. But in the word consumers is also the word con. So many of the things that we allow ourselves to buy into are really kind of, they're hijacking us. And then as soon as our levels of awareness start to come down, we become mutilated, and then there's fear, and always there's an aspect of fear that could be false evidence appearing real, right? So it's kind of, we've been told a lot of things that are untrue, and that's why they're able to push the limit on so many things. And so the levels of information, education has a purpose there to maintain the status quo of money, business, et cetera, and humanity is really being pushed down. We are just numbers, and it doesn't matter because it's all about them being able to make money from us. And it might sound kind of harsh, but I think that these days it's starting to become more apparent between everything. So we need to become more aware, right? First of all, no matter where you're at, ask good questions. Right? That's where it all begins, right? Critical thinking. Don't buy into hook, line, and sinker. Just everything is the truth because the TV says it, whatever says it. Go and explore it. Ask good questions. And as you start doing it and become more aware, you'll see, because truth connects with more truth. So begin to look for wherever you see truth. It's all threaded together, and it allows us to see the big picture. And truth is like light, okay? And light exposes what's in the darkness of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we begin to see it, and you're going to see it here, you're going to see it there. And then, so always look for the truth. I mean, you see the truth, then whatever the other side, the falseness of things, you'll see that too. But just go for the truth on things, right? So as we have a lot of our crown chakra, third eye, and so on, our throat, even our heart, they get shut down. These are like major transformers in our body. They bring in the energy that feeds us at all levels. And in the end, you know, we're looking at only the physical aspect of being fed, but we need to be fed from all different levels, and everything is energy. So we need to establish that. And for me, one of the great things I think that very quickly we can do is buy some chakra balancing, you know, bracelets like I got one here, or this pendant here that you can hang around your neck. And these work. Mm-hmm. Okay? They open up your chakras instantly and keep you tuned, because there's colors of the chakras, there's crystal formations, and there's some aspects of what crystals do. Crystals are used in watches, computers, and radios. There were the original crystal radios. They're used everywhere because crystals make good carriers of energy. Okay, so basically they're used for oscillating circuits and tuners and so on. So, you know, when they can use that kind of technology, but basically if we incorporate it and utilize crystals with our body for our own health, so like a chakra balance and bracelet has an awful lot of power to retune us. It opens up, it tunes us to the frequencies beneficial for the crown, for the third eye, for the throat, for the heart, solar plexus, sacrum, and your root. And it gives you a balance.
So for the science-minded folks, explain how that works in terms of these tools helping to balance us and how we're relating to the energies around us. How does that work?
Well, it's kind of like this, right? If you take because everything has frequency, vibration, okay? And when you tune, it's like to a radio station, okay? You tune to a particular frequency. So color, different color has its own specific frequency. Just like sound, different notes has different frequency, different vibration. And once we tune into the vibration, will vibrate. For example, you can take the guitar string, and if there's another guitar with the same string, and they're close enough, and you strike the one guitar string on the one guitar, the other one starts vibrating too. And so you start getting what's called resonance, because the way that they're tuned, okay? And now it just opens up. And yeah, it just brings more life in. It's all about getting that life flow. So whether it's from color, okay, or whether it's from sound, because basically everything in the universe is light, sound, frequency. So that's why they talk about eating different colored food, for example. Eat the rainbow, you know. So it's, when you look at it, everything is foundationally energy, you know. So, for example, you're wearing this red sweater because it's related to the root chakra. It makes you more grounded, right? This opens more the spiritual side of things, and your crown is engaged with that. So, you know, keeping ourselves attuned and keeping everything kind of balanced, it just adds to more quality of life, gives us insight, and, you know, it will provide for us the opportunities to be of a higher purpose. And I think that's really what so many people do not know what life is all about. They go through life, they come to the end of the road, and what have I done? But it's, you know, but I think people are beginning to kind of want more out of life. They're kind of tired of the consumerism, and, you know, they want more quality. There is something there, because there's another part of it, is that we might be genetically 99.99% the same. There's this little uniqueness about it. But you can share things, and when you ask people the basic questions of what they want in life. They want love, they want, you know, they want the good things in life. Everybody's the same that way. So we get distracted. Why? Because we're out of tune. So whatever it takes for each one of us. And so when we surround ourselves with good energy, it's like giving a tune-up. We tune up our cars and whatever else. We need a tune-up. We need to get tuned. Hug the tree. We did that.
Right.
And that was good, right? Mm-hmm. It just shows. Take a deep breath of fresh air. Walk the forest. Go walk on the ocean.
Barefoot.
Walk barefoot.
20 minutes a day, the elders say that is the number one health tip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you can go into the depth of the quantum physics and so on. You can listen to guys like Greg Braden, love what he teaches, right? Mm-hmm. He's just one of the people. There's many out there. And so, I would definitely recommend, if you haven't ever listened to Greg Braden, go to Greg Braden. Is actually being one that's kind of led me to open up to a lot of things over the years, listen to what he has to say. And, so you
spoke about a few practices and tools, chakra bracelet. What about going back to, the basics in terms of water and food? How are we relating, and how can we uplift and the vibration or being in resonance to create wellness in our life?
Yeah, from a physical perspective, the best way to describe our bodies, okay, is that what is our body? What do we consist of from the physical material thing? If the human body was to be cremated, burned up, we end up with somewhere around 2 to 4 pounds of ash. That's it. Just a little pile of ash. Everything is vaporized. So we're predominantly water. We began our life in water in the womb. And when a baby's born, it's like about 90, whatever. It's way up there in water. And they smell beautiful. Okay, it's the same thing as you go pick the fruit off the tree and it's fresh. You smell it. It smells beautiful. Okay. So water should be your first nutrient. Okay, and then of course, what kind of water can be? You don't want to drink polluted water. Number one. If water's been sitting stagnant, of course, it also gets it's dead energetic-wise. Water flows through piping; it gets robbed of its energy. So there's tools again by which you can re-energize the water. And I think that again, put things into your body that has energy. If it's dead, there's principles like this: life gives life, and death gives death. So the more dead things we put into ourselves, what is it doing? It's our bodies need energy to consume these things, to process these things. And if you're continuously consuming things that are dead, it's costing you energy. So over time, you're running into deficit. You're actually weakening your body. So it's very important that if you don't have choice, but like go for a walk in the woods or go hug a tree, but you want living things, whether it's living water or not. And so, okay, the analogy, the baby, fully hydrated, smells beautiful, pH balanced. Okay, it's all about balance, everything. Energy needs to be balanced and so on. Our bodies, in terms of overall what we consume, everything needs to be balanced. So you take the baby and then you compare, for example, the elderly, 60 to 80 range. What do we find there? They're mostly dehydrated, and so their bodies are acidic. Hug the baby, beautiful. Hug the old, they're beautiful. But there's sometimes a bit of an issue with odor. Go visit in a home where there's many people sit in a particular room. The whole room can smell like ammonia. And it's because these people are dehydrated. They're very acidic. And acid lakes do not support life. So what do we see there as a principle? That the acid lake does not contain oxygen. That's the first thing that our bodies need to contain, oxygen. Okay, so by dehydration, we cause a lack of oxygen. Okay, and our bodies become acidic. And so we're slowly depriving all the cells in our body of the oxygen, and they can't function very well. So what do you find in an acid lake or an aquarium that's broken down and the water's no longer clear, it's got algae growing in it? The fish do very poorly, they die. Okay, you look at the acid lake, there's no life in it. Okay, so you definitely want to drink, number one, sufficient water. And water can also be an agent by which to help alkalize your body. So that can be very important. And if you don't have an expensive machine, the least thing you can do is drink clean water. add some lemon juice, add a little bit of, let's say something like Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt to it. The minerals and the mineral content will help to also create more of an alkaline situation there for you. So yeah, water is so important. And if you're just giving, the number one thing that a person needs to do if they're dehydrated, give more water. Water is a cleanser, it's a coolant, it's a lubricant. Okay, it's a massive amount of action. Your body is water. And if you like, it's sabotaging your whole health program. Simple as that. And again, that relationship between sufficient water, pH, oxygen. Okay, deprived oxygen. Let's face it. Someone gets choked, they drown in the pool. It only takes a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, to deplete the brain cells from it, and the brain cells shuts down. And this is then the process of disease. The word disease, properly looked at, defined. When you're in balance, you're at ease. When you're out of balance, you're in a disease, out of balance condition. So it's all about balance. How to reestablish that is, hydration continuously. Some people make the mistake, they just drink a liter or 2 liters or a gallon, one stop, and then they don't drink during the day. So it's kind of continuous hydration, okay? Sip on it, that's probably the best, okay? And they say a good formula, half your body weight in ounces. Of course, if you're eating a lot of fresh fruit and it's got liquid in it, and vegetables, that will provide you for a certain level of hydration there as well. So anyways, you can never go wrong with sufficient, good, clean water. And there's definitely something to be aware about the plastics in water and plastic bleaches and so on. So there's some issues. You can kind of look into that yourself. It's not the most recommended way. So however you can establish putting good, clean, healthy water into your body, and you can even re-energize the water. There's technology by which we can do that. The second most important thing, probably next to water, is salt. Good quality salt. So, white salt, of course, is predominantly sodium. And what do you notice? That people are getting too much of white salt, which is what they use as table salt. It's all your processed foods. Eventually, a lot of people suffer from high blood pressure. Well, it's because the salt that they consume is really poison. And this is often, the salt that we get is a residue from industrial processes. They take good salt, they'll take all the minerals out, they process it at 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty high temperature. It destroys the crystalline nature of it. Again, remember, crystalline nature is very important, and you end up with this pile of sodium that just doesn't really do a whole lot of good, but it's just bad. If you eat something that is real salt, like a Celtic sea salt, a Himalayan salt, or any real type of salt, you notice that added to your food, the flavor is just so much different. So for yourself, discover it if that's not what you've been doing. The issue is that for a lot of people, because they believe in the health medical side of the paradigm, well, if there's issues, get off salt. You cannot eat salt. And that's a big mistake. Why do we know that? Because we give salt block to animals, and it's never white. Okay, they're a different color, and color is established because there's certain levels of minerals in there. So we need all the minerals that we can get, and salt, good salt, real salt, will provide you with that. Minerals are catalysts; they make everything happen. Okay, so not just vitamins, but you need good minerals, and salt will add energy. Put salt into water. If you have pure water, and you put electricity in that pure water, no electricity flows. You put a little bit of salt in that water, and all of a sudden the electricity flows, okay? And so what are we? We're predominantly water. Do we need salt? Do we conduct energy? Yeah, cell to cell. It's energy flowing. So you need to provide your body with good salt, okay? Those are, so important. And what do people then do is to get their stuff in the body to give them the energy, they drink junk. They buy these expensive Gatorades, and on goes all these options that even athletes have bought into and helped promote out there, right? Not knowing the harm that it can do. Okay, so anyways, you need to identify what's real, right? Real food, real salt, whatever, real water. and it's so different. So we have been programmed because if food was basically really good food that was freshly grown and we were to eat it, we would have a whole lot more health. We wouldn't need all the whatever supplements, even medications, etc. And but yeah, what we have today, there's more money in it when they can process stuff and packages and so on. And it's like what they do again, going back to salt. They take real salt, they take all the minerals out, they use it for different processes, and then they say, here, this is actually the junk. We should be throwing this away. This is, no good. But this is what they tell. This is the salt. This is the real thing that you should be having. They don't tell you what they've done to the salt, right? So, anyways, this is an education that takes time sometimes to learn. But I'm thankful, really, for the day that we live in. There's many challenges at the same time. There's so much more information coming out. So, keep an open mind. That's what I tell people.
Perfect. And I know this is a huge question, so maybe just general advice in terms of food diets. And there's all kinds of theories, blood type, and different ways of eating, and even one food type, and people get confused. So what would you suggest?
Well, there are different aspects, and we're made up different, and maybe, even we were raised in different places with different foods. There's a lot of thoughts on all that. But like, for example, we live in more in northern climates. It's often assumed that, when we eat what's more locally grown also benefits us better, because everything is energy. So we're living in these energy pockets, and now, we're consuming things. And so the seasons and all these cycles, they're all interconnected. And I think that's what a lot of people are often doing is, just eating a lot, not just wrong processed foods, but even from the living food sides. And so, enjoy your foods, but, your body might be sensitive to certain foods. But, okay, so what do you really need? Okay, so you don't need all the carbohydrates, which are refined carbohydrates, which is predominantly being sugars, which has now become high fructose corn syrup, which is all being GMO, which is probably the most destructive to our health today. And they're renaming that, and they're calling it now corn sugar instead of, because it's kind of taken on a bit of a bad name. More people are aware, so it's rebranding it, calling it something different, put a different spin on it. So we're being fooled, though. We're being sold things. And so again, critical thinking, ask, look into what is it, right? Because, garbage in, garbage out, that's what happens with garbage out. Life goes down pretty fast. So living foods first. And I would say, support, number one, what is grown in the local areas. That's, like I said, that fits the energy cycle from where we're living, okay? So living foods, not refined, not all the carbohydrates. So you look at your cell structure. What are we made out of? Amino acids, proteins. Okay, so number one, we need good sources of protein. We need good fats as well. Those are definitely essential things. And you can get your good carbs out of your fruits and vegetables that you eat. Then it comes down to refined things, like this is where you have to watch out. Okay, when the more the foods are living foods, so when you cook and you overcook, so there's a difference. Can you cook some foods? Absolutely, but often people just simply overcook everything. And foods contain enzymes. And what are enzymes? Enzymes are catalysts. They provide the spark. Okay, so for example, with the way that I test this energetically, I can taste something, or I can test something that's living, hold it, and it's got the energy. You cook it, and you really cook it, and you can see that the energy levels have gone down. Why? The enzymes have been depleted. And the enzymes give you, again, they're just spark catalysts. Like you've got spark plugs in your car, they provide the spark to the fuel to make it go. And so when you're eating foods that are completely processed all the time, you lack putting in living foods, you will deplete the enzymes. So our bodies, we make enzymes, okay? But it's what happens if we're eating on the side of just everything being processed. We're young, we have some vitality there, and our cells engage. For example, the digestive process, digestive enzymes, okay, are being created, and food's being broken down. But after a while, the pancreas and the different organs, they kind of get tired, get overworked, and they maybe get inflamed and stuff like that. So now they can't provide properly. So now you get foods, proteins, for example, that are not properly digested. They become inflammatory, okay? So they go through your digestive system, get all processed and so on. They get into your bloodstream, and now they flow along. And the strongest cells, there's a pecking order, okay, in our body. The strongest cells have the ability to kind of select, okay, and they grab the strongest, the best of the proteins because they're strong. The areas that have been weakened, whether it's been from genetics or injuries that have never properly healed, they're weak. And so now there's a tendency that they become the dumping ground of these unprocessed or not properly digested proteins. And you get a process this going on over time. This also can then become inflammatory, okay? So, there's a process in our body. And so when we digest, you are what you eat, digest, absorb, and the cells can utilize. Okay, so there's different stages by which our food is going to help support and give us life, right? So digestion breaks down, the absorption becomes poor, the cells get inferior. And what do cells do? They heal, repair, rejuvenate. Whether it's your hair, your skin, your whatever, any cell in your body, any tissue in your body, they continuously do this healing, repair, and rejuvenating. So when you are basically providing them with garbage material, then you're creating an issue. And so this is where an awful lot of then the aging-related diseases kind of come in. And certainly my experience in working with people, I can take people, I've worked with a lady not that long ago, 95, 0 medication, thank goodness. And she had a surgery done 12 years previous, and she's had digestive issues after the surgery. And I did 3 sessions with her. And so even at 95, she was fine after that. So that's amazing, right? So again, we can all restore ourselves. Age is just a number, okay? And so you don't have to buy into the mode or the mindset of, hey, you're getting old, just accept it. No, you don't have to accept it. So I'm trying to be an example of that.
Yes, and you are, because Richard, you have more energy, I would say, than me and my friends, and so you're embodying your teachings. And so I'm wondering, in terms of this whole realm of supplements, I mean, there's so much vitamins, and so I hear you in terms of living foods, local foods, listening to one's body and water and salt. Now, with all the supplements, there's so much being sold. Like, what's your advice? How do people choose?
So yeah, the more real food, the less dependency on supplements. And so even by the nature of the word supplement, doesn't mean replacement, right? Supplement. It's in addition to. So, and I utilize supplements because I want to optimize, because the problem is that, can we always get quality food out there, right? And so I think it has room. However, there's a big issue with a lot of supplements. They're not based on whole food, they're chemicalized. And sometimes I test these things energetically. So there might be some good components in there, but then these things get, use the expression, but they get bastardized by putting certain chemicals in there. And it totally destroys it, energetically destroys it, okay? So yeah, you want, again, real, and that becomes a challenge for the average person in there. Number one, I don't have all the knowledge. I have some knowledge when I look at the labels and I know what to look for. But the average person just goes like, okay, well, I need some vitamin C. And it says ascorbic acid. Well, one is $20 and the other one is $10. Well, it's ascorbic acid, okay? But energetically, often I can test it. And sometimes it's even that the more expensive one is the worst one than the cheaper one. So where do you go?
Wow.
So I test my supplements, and I test a lot of supplements for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And just give you one example. So vitamins, mostly the vitamin C these days is made from corn. What do we know about corn? Is GMO. Okay, so that becomes something like 80% of corn is GMO, right? And then also the extraction process is they use some chemical, some alcohol, I think it is acetyl alcohol or something, to extract it. Well, and this is what I found. They test the chemical produced vitamin C. It has ascorbic acid. You don't even know the difference. But I can measure it and I see it's dead. Then I try to re-energize it through some technology. And typically, if it's natural, if some of the energy has been taken out because of the processing, the packaging, the exposure, whatever, it will very quickly rebalance, okay, and absorb the energy back in. And those kind of details, how to's on that, you can, send us some information if you want it. We can show you how to do that. But if it's chemical based, it's just not going to do it. So when we're putting those kind of things, those kind of supplements or foods or whatever into our bodies, we're actually, again, taxing our body by taking it. So not all supplements are made equal. Not all supplements are good, and not even all expensive supplements. And I get approached by all kinds of companies marketing their products, and they could be, big MLM companies, and people say, "Oh, we got the latest and greatest," and because people have bought into the system. There's money behind it, and there's nothing wrong. We all need to make money. Money is still the currency by which the energy to flow that allows us to survive. So that's the current system of things. But some companies, for example, they have one or two good products, and then they introduce a bunch of stuff that is garbage. Okay, but people have already been, they've bought into the whole flow of things, and their companies become like God. So you have to question everything, and I feel for an awful lot of consumers, and my desire is just like, I'm going to help them, expose them to the truth, right? If you've got questions, you're local, I'm approachable. Hey, I'd love to set you on a better path, just show you what it is, what to choose, and use it. So yeah, question supplements, it's a hard one for the average consumer. Not all vitamin D is alike. And vitamin D we need. Give you an example. It took me time to learn about vitamin D because I was reading, okay, all vitamin D, yeah, it's all the same. So just buy cheap vitamin D. And then I find out that they were also producing vitamin D from feathers, right? Well, feathers is ground up, and it's not bioavailable to the body. So it's just like, okay, what am I doing putting that in my body? Again, they can hurt you. And I had a client that had previously dealt with cancer, and you'll find that I test people that vitamin D is very useful in fighting cancer and high doses of it. And this particular lady started to use a lot of high doses because she thought that her cancer was coming back. And this is really neat the way it happened. So I tested her body. The kidneys were showing low functioning, and she had that pain right in the back there, right? Got her off taking all the vitamin D, and she got better. So I'm doing some of these. So this is kind of I need to tell this story. I go through, work with her, help her get better. Then she goes running. And after she runs a few times, she's back in that, she got that pain again. This is where I start really linking things back to where? The feet. Her feet were so bad condition. And when you're pounding on your feet, you have all those spots in the feet, and that can affect every organ in your body. So we need to be able to do it. And so it's not all about, taking ABC vitamins they might be good for certain things and they might help, but it's like, where is the source? What is creating the problem, right? So there's better ways of doing it. And to me, it's exciting because every day is a new day of learning and finding out and wanting to share this with people.
Yes, and we all feel your enthusiasm, that's for sure. So we've covered a lot, but just to end, just a very quick mention of these orgons, the Zen cards, just a very short summary, because you can go to yalila.com under the shop page, and you will find Richard's videos explaining more about these tools. But briefly, what are they?
Well, the energy card that we have is very unique. Like, it just contains a little chip in a card, and they're well made, well put together. They're very durable, and it's got the flower of life symbol in it. So it becomes nature's energy, universal life force energies. Everything that exists in the cosmos, in the world, that supplants plant life, our life. Okay, it basically tunes to that, brings it in, then amplifies it to our body. So it actually can help restore our energy field. So typically I can measure this, and let's say it comes out 10 feet from your body or 20, and you take the card and you put it on your body or very close to your body, and your energy field could probably expand to double or triple that, depending on the individual. It helps you, gives you protection to disarm some of the bad frequencies. Everyone's using cell phones, everybody's using iPads, everybody's using computers, and that's assaulting us. And for some people, when I test them, when people become very anxious about things, jittery and stuff like that, very often they are very sensitive to these EMFs, electromagnetic fields from cell phones and iPads and so on. And these people definitely need protection. And please don't expose your children, your babies. They're still in the formation stage, the brain still being developed. And that is really hard. Never have your don't sleep with your cell phone, don't let your kids sleep, don't have computers in the bedroom, stuff like that. But if you do, and you must, you get one of these energy cards, take it with you, put it in the bedroom, put it on the device, put it on your body, whatever, expand your energy field and help and protect yourself. Okay, so it's very, very good. Yeah, then we've got unique things, like we've got this orgone generator, and that again, it creates an energy field. You combine the energy field from the orgone generator with the card, it can help also change the energy in a home. Okay, every home flows energy, the way the walls are, what's in the earth, what's in the walls, the electricity. There's so much energy flowing everywhere. And then even your furniture can block some energy flow. It could be anything. And if you don't get good, let's say you have whole areas that are negative, and you spend a lot of time in a negative energy area, it actually starts depleting your energy too. Okay, so combination of the card and the OG or orgone generator, you put it on top of the flower of life. This will help to turn that into a positive atmosphere. And so, you know, that can really help things in our home or workplace and so on. So please make it your own personal protection. Keep it with you. And then, of course, to help expand, you know, got chakra bracelets, okay, like this, nice colors in them. Got these pendants as well. They're beautiful and they work. So you can go through the videos again and you can see what kind of goes on. And the next thing is you take the step and try it for yourself.
Yeah, perfect.
Or come over and visit and make an appointment and we can help you through it.
Okay, great. So no website yet for you, but if you want to get a hold of Richard, just come through me and I'll make sure we connect you to. And, you know, this is so perfect that you're able to do this, Richard, because I started off this YES program really wanting to focus on the basics of wellness and, you know, harmonious health because, you know, for years I was focusing on spiritual realms and spiritual practices and realized that a huge piece that was missing for me in my health was this grounding in like daily practices and what I'm putting in my body and what's around my body. And then suddenly realized, you know what, all the people that I'm in contact with really also could benefit from this support. And now all my clients coming through getting this information first because it is the foundation. It's absolutely essential for our health and well-being. And it can be so simple and so profound just to take these steps right away. You can change your life.
Absolutely.
As you said, with water, with tending to your feet. So it's doable, and I've seen that it brings a lot of optimism and hope for people.
Absolutely.
You know, in their lives. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For sharing your wisdom.
See you again.
Thanks, everybody.